So I'm really excited to do this next session of the mental fitness. And I've got two very cool people with me. I got to meet both of them at DC Hub. So we all met at DC, and that was actually when I got introduced to Taco Bamba for the first time, which blew my mind. And I think I remember talking to Alawna while I was experiencing that experience of the food. But I'm glad to have both of you on here. We're going to be talking about mental fitness, just what it means for all of us, how we've been trying to maintain it, and going forward, looking forward for the year, what we're gonna do to try and keep the mental fitness. So I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself. Alana, I'm going to start with you if you just want to do introduction.
Yeah, sure. I'm Alawna Jameson. I am based in Richmond, Virginia, originally from LA. I'm a certified professional coach. I work with Black and BIPOC creatives and entrepreneurs to help amplify their voice and vocation. And during my day job, I'm employed with BetterUp. I work on our coach onboarding team, making sure that we're keeping a global, diverse community of coaches. I'll pass it to Chuck.
Great. Thanks, Alana. My name is Chuck Bond. I am an account executive here at BetterUp, helping validate everything that BetterUp is doing in the customer space. With that said, outside of work, I'm a dad of 4, and I am all about working towards retirement as I'm getting closer and closer to that.
Mm-hmm.
That's great to hear, Chuck. I can tell from your voice that the finish line is not far off. This promise.
We're working on it. We're almost there.
Okay. So we're going to be, thank you for the introduction, guys. We're going to be talking about mental fitness, which is something quite dear to my heart. And I'm going to start by defining what it means for me. So for me, it's really taking a proactive approach to managing your energy. And I have this kind of energy management system of checking into myself of like, how am I filling my tank? And for me, that's like the time I spend with people that I really care about. So the moments, spending time with my son, spending time with my wife. Mindfulness, which is a big one for me. But when I say mindfulness, it doesn't mean like I'm sitting there meditating all the time. It's actually carving out space and time to kind of separate myself from my thoughts and to actually see what's going on in my head so that I can actually tune into like, how do I want to engage with my thoughts? The bigger one as well is movement. Alana, I think I was just saying to you, I just took some time to go outside. I find if I don't move, I get really cranky. So I've realized that for me, that's a big thing of my energy management system. And then I look at all I call it the outflows, the things that are taking my energy. And a big one is when I do a brain dump of all the things I have to do, it just always blows my mind of, wow, that's a lot of things on there. So I always try and make sure that I look at all the energy that's coming in, as well as the energy that's going out, and making sure that the engine's never running on low. And I'm taking proactive steps to manage that. It's an ongoing thing because I realize now I'm about to become a dad for the second time. So I never crack it. When I think I cracked it, then I was just sharing with Alana, the first trimester for my wife this time was really, really rough. So I had to actually find new things to help top up my energy. One of them was rediscovering playing soccer, for just being able to drive off, go somewhere, pretend I was 18 years old again and play that, just to kind of, give my mind a break. So it's an ongoing practice. You never really achieve it because life keeps throwing you new and exciting opportunities. So that's what it means for me. And I'd love to hear from you guys, what it means for you, mental fitness. Alana, I was going to start with you. That's okay.
Yeah, and before our call, I was thinking about, how would I actually define it? Because we use it a lot colloquially, but like, what does it mean? And I think the word that just kept like coming up for me when I hear mental fitness is like, it's dynamic, it's not stagnant. So it's this continuous journey of how do I continue working towards getting up here okay, just like I would go to the gym or take classes to get my body okay. Yeah. So when I think about a definition for mental fitness, it's an ongoing journey to make sure that I'm right up here.
Okay.
So short and sweet for me.
Chuck, you wanna?
Yeah, I mean, I look at mental fitness almost similar to investing and saving money, because it's what you do in the good times that prepare you to be resilient and agile in the tough times. So when I look at the good times, I work on things that make me happy and make me complete, be it spending time with my kids, my wife. I too am big in nature. I enjoy walking, hiking, running. It might sound crazy, but I enjoy yard work as well. So I just enjoy being outdoors. And then the other thing is around prioritization. I used to be really bad at this until actually I joined Better Up and worked through this with a coach. But it's about setting priorities and understanding my plate can only hold so much. And that's probably the eye opener for me, that has made mental fitness stick. And then the last thing is, you just have to love yourself, right? A lot of people have issue with always being tough on themselves, right? Your self-love, self-care isn't high on the priority, but yet you'll scrutinize yourself and not achieving, not attaining, not performing. Being overwhelmed is almost like a badge of honor. When you flip that and you realize how it really impacts your life and your happiness and your energy, then it becomes something that fuels you. So setting priorities and setting boundaries and self-love are right up there when I think of mental fitness.
I love those points, Chuck. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm definitely going to jump into the self-compassion. That's the way I kind of termed it, because I think that's definitely been the biggest thing for me and an eye-opener coming through the pandemic. I did my whole person assessment, and weirdly enough, resilience was at the top there. And I was like, I didn't put myself in that, because resilience was always like, you keep pushing. But I actually realized resilience was at the top because I had that self-compassion. I was more kind to myself, especially where I was very relaxed with my expectations. Like I'd still be going in a certain direction, but when things didn't happen, I was quite comfortable in that, okay, it's not going to happen now. I've given it my best. Let's take a break, and tuning into what I needed. And I think that's, hearing you say that is music to my ears, because that's a big part of what we're facing now, is being kind to ourselves in the way we push ourselves. Alawna, I don't know if you wanted to add anything on that point.
Yeah, nothing beyond. It's real. It's real. And I think it takes a lot of like self-awareness, and even beyond that, honesty with yourself to be like, actually, do I love me? What do I love about me? And being able to name certain items. And since we're all in this like virtual world too, I have an alert on if all the things I love about myself are task oriented or transaction oriented. Like there's so many other things that make us so beautiful and wonderful outside of like, I really killed that presentation today. Like the deck that I put together was so great. Like, yes, but it was also your influence. It was your enthusiasm. It was your compassion. It was all these other things. So really being able to name like why I am great outside of it being associated with a work or a tangible product is really important.
I love that point. Yeah, I've been bringing this mindset of trying to have fun, especially at work, because I find like when you're trying to, did I kill that presentation, or was the deck really good? But actually, when I bring the mindset of, did I have fun? Did I connect with the people as much? That helps me with the self-compassion bit, because then you're not worried so much about what was the outcome. You're more worried about how much did you engage with people and how much did you express yourself.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the interesting thing is people all often look at self-compassion and relate it to work. Like set work aside. Again, the priority is yourself first, and then your value system, and work is somewhere in there, right? Like you got to get things in order. And I think now some people, work is top of their value system, and that's fine. But for me, it's not at the top of my value system. My value system is what I focus on is my family and my relationship with my wife, et cetera. And again, once you go through that exercise as a coachee, because I'm not a coach, so it's all new to me, but it's eye-opening, right? You really see what's important to you. And now you're able to look at the prioritization and start to say, well, okay, I need to focus on nature and exercise throughout the week before work. And now work starts to take on a different meaning, but it fuels you differently because you're coming to work already juiced. Like you've checked the boxes on those things that make you tick, make you more productive. And now when you come to work, that presentation almost seems easier because it's not, I'm trying to fill a void of being out in nature with a presentation. It's never going to work. So
I love the point. No, I love those points you just shared, Chuck, because for me, it was, I left my corporate job and I was kind of 2 years, I call it in the wilderness. And then that's when I realized that questioning my identity of what was really important to me. And then that's when I came to the realization that it didn't matter what I did in my work. That was kind of a side thing. It was literally my family, also becoming a dad for the first time. So that's when I came up with that thing of filling your energy tank. When you fill your energy tank with the things that really matter, nature, spend time with your family, then work is never the be all or end all. And if you can approach it in that way, then that's when it allows you to have fun. And
yeah, I love the way Alawna introduced herself, right? She said, these are the things that fuel me, right? This is who I am. And then, oh, by the way, my day job is better up, right? So I'm right there with her. Again, I wish I wasn't in my 50s when I learned that, because life would have been like, totally. I think back on that, like, what if I would have had the mindset I had today when I was in my 20s and my 30s? Like,
wow,
how would I have amplified or multiplied or exponentially grown over that same time period?
Yeah.
Chuck, I'm sure I'll be saying the same thing when I'm at that age too. I mean, it's just like, I love these conversations and the environment for even questioning, like, what does work mean to you? It's such a different definition today than it was so many years ago. And I loved what you called out around values, because I think of that, that's your foundation, that's your playbook. Like that's going to filter through what you're able to accept, what you view as success, and all these other things. So I really encourage people to think about that. Like, what do you value? For me, being a CEO, like, I know I could do it. Is that really what I value? Not really. Like, I'd love to just be a wonderful mother, a little bit of a hippie on the side, doing some meditation, some yoga, maybe making candles, and then working on other entrepreneurial things. Like, I value freedom. I value balance in ways that certain opportunities of how we think about work and productivity don't align. And that's okay. And if it doesn't align for you, like, that's wonderful too. Like, you can choose your journey. It doesn't have to be this one size fits all thing anymore. And that feels really good because there's a place for everybody.
I love that.
I love that point. And once you understand your value system, for me, then it's easier to maintain your mental fitness, because then you can start to see you're being dragged off to things that you don't really care about. If someone says, oh, I want to promote you to CEO, you're like, hold on a minute. That's not my value system. Why am I chasing this? And it can help you kind of rebalance yourself.
And that goes back to like self-love too, of it's not that I am talking down on myself as though I cannot do it. I know I can do it. I love myself to know where my strengths are, but I also love myself to know where my limits are and what I'm going to say no to.
Yeah, that's a great point. Great, amazing points. And these lead me to the second question. Alawna, I'm going to start with you. Something that surprised you this year around your mental fitness.
What surprised me? Something I've been thinking about as like my fiance gears up to like go back to work is just how important connection is to me. Like, I've always known that, but truly like that physical connection point is so deep to me. I find it's so nice to be able to like head downstairs and have lunch with him after like a tough meeting or like this rough like work project. And now that I'm thinking about him going back to work soon and back in the office, I'm like, wow, I'm going to essentially like be alone. And I haven't been alone throughout this entire pandemic. I'm blessed enough to have somebody in the same house, somebody in the same work environment. So I think that's something that I I've always been such a proponent for remote work, and I was doing self-employed stuff before him. But now I'm like, dang, my buddy's going to be gone. And that physical connection powers me. It fuels my tank so much more than I initially thought, in a way that I don't know if like going to a co-working space would, because there's not that community aspect that I'm looking for. So that's just something top of mind.
I can feel you on that one. When you've had a rough meeting, I take it for granted when you have a rough meeting, I can just go up to my wife and just start talking about it. And then we go for a walk. And then within 10 minutes, you've forgotten about it. Whereas if you were just on your own, you'd probably keep going, oh, why did that happen? How can I fix it? So yeah, that's something to think about. And I'm actually going for an offsite next week. I've had the joy of getting to spend so much time with my son. And now the thought of like not seeing him for 4 or 5 days. I remember when last year I went away to Nigeria, and for a week not seeing him, it affected him so much that I didn't know, and it affected me. So I'm even thinking, I know I'm going to enjoy the offsite, but I'm now realizing I'm so glad that we have this remote work and that we have this opportunity to spend this time with our loved ones, because I'd hate to have been not there, when he was his first year of life. So something is just going to cherish.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck, any points you wanted to add on?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just plus one you on the travel bit, right? So being in sales prior to the pandemic, traveling was just part of the job. It was something you managed as part of your week to week, right? I'm going to be gone 2 days, 3 days, whatever that may be. And over the last couple of weeks, you start to think 2 years, you're ready to get going again, But then once you start traveling, you're like, man, this is hard. Like, I didn't realize how stressful this was, and security and being away from your family, being in strange places. It actually used to fuel me to travel, like I'm going somewhere new. And now it's not that I'm reluctant to do it, but it just feels heavy while you're doing it, right? It's a bigger lift. You get a different outcome, but it's still in line with the overall outcome that you can support virtually, right? So Alawna talked, she spoke about connections, and yes, it's great to be with the team. It's great to be in front of customers, et cetera. But it's almost like you need recovery time. I used to be able to get off the plane and, sit around for an hour and then just pick up with work. This last trip, I got back and it was like, hey, I need a half a day. I mean, it's the energy it took to do all of that was just, it was a surprise to me.
It's landing on me now that we have changed after the 2 years, because I think, like what you said, traveling used to actually fuel me with energy, but now it's like you have to admit that you haven't done it for so long. You can't just come off a flight and say, oh, I'm going to start working now. And we've been used to that connection with loved ones there. We know that we're missing different things now, whereas before we weren't even aware, that we were missing those things. And I am looking forward to traveling, but now I just realized it's got to be something important, and it's got to be, you got to know why you're doing it. So like our offsite, the people you work with, I think that's really important, that you get to connect at least once every 6 months or once a year, so that you really get to meet the people that you're, like I put it in the
well. So if we piggyback on the travel, it also exposes the value of mental fitness, right? So flights are being canceled more now than ever before, and you can literally sit back and you can see, all right, who has a strength, a behavior strength and calm and focus, who's off the chain. And now you start to see this and you're saying, well, you know what? Why am I not upset that I got stuck in LaGuardia at 10 o'clock at night and I'm able to navigate this? It's those mental fitness skills, and some people have it, and you can clearly see those who don't. And again, it's what you stack up when times are good, when you're around your family, that when you do get in those scenarios, you're not overwhelmed. You're not overwhelmed by it in a negative way. I mean, again, it feels heavy, but it's not like it's overwhelming. There's no conflict. There's no stress associated with it, as you see other people. They're just incapable of dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Alana, I'd love to hear your take on that.
There's just one thing that Chuck said that really stood out to me was around like that awareness of after I traveled, like that almost like grace period that you need to give yourself before you hop back into life. And I've been thinking about that just even being at work, where working longer hours, we're working harder, we're producing more at home versus when we were in the office. I'm taking more breaks there, I'm socializing more. And I've been trying to incorporate that and give myself grace at work on that topic of, you know, after a big presentation or putting together a piece of work, like that would have likely taken up my entire day if I was in a traditional office, like how can I build in more breaks and almost that like recovery time in my schedule? Because it's not just, okay, this was from 1:30 to 2:30. Now I'm ready to go at 2:45 to, I actually am going to need an hour after that call. Like I really need an hour. I need to get a snack. I need to get my mind right. And I can jump back in because that's what I would normally do. And so, yeah, I just want to bring a little bit more human back into like the office and the workplace in a way where it would happen when I was in an office and I was able to keep myself better in check and I had better sanity than just like grinding at home.
And is it guilt that stops you from, say, if you did that presentation for an hour and a half, instead of taking an hour afterwards? Because yeah, if you were in the office, you probably had to go to someone's site to give the presentation. So you just think, I've got to travel back. So no, I'm not going to book any meetings. But when you're at home, it's like someone goes to your calendar and thinks, oh, your calendar's free. Is it, I don't know what it is it guilt that gets in the way of saying, no, I need that time. So booking that kind of recovery time after a big thing like that.
I think it'd be a few things. I think it could show up as guilt for some people. It could also show up, like Chuck was speaking about earlier, of this culture of just busy and grinding and going. And that's just what I'm used to. And that's what's modeled for me. So I think it depends on the person, how that shows up. But I think something I do is like when I'm taking a break, it's going to be on my Slack status and it's also going to be on my calendar. And I'm going to put in focus time and I'm put on time when I want to go take a walk because I am human and I'm not going to be able, it's robotic of me to spend 8 to 9 hours purely working. And so that doesn't work with my values. But you can believe that when I am working, I'm going to be focused on the highest priority, most urgent, and most business impact items. And if that aligns, great. And if not, we can have a chat. That's the realness.
If it's in my value system, good. But yeah, we can have a chat about it if you don't like it. I love that point. But when I'm thinking of my wife here now, and not the company she's at, a previous company, and I used to remember everyone modeled that busyness to the stage where she couldn't even take a toilet break at some point. And I was like, how do you not see this craziness? And like, forget about eating, because everyone was just meeting to meeting. And I don't know whether, well, I'm glad that are better up. We're definitely in a work day, focus time and people, things like that, where even your coaching sessions where you can't book on top of it, it does help when you're in that environment that models it, and it makes it a bit easier. Yeah. Well, I'm going to move on that note to the other question. Chuck, this one's for you. Is as you look ahead now for the rest of the year, you know, what is some challenges or things that excite you about your mental fitness that can come into play?
Yeah, I mean, we're all looking at, you know, the macroeconomics and recession, and interest rates and price of fuel, and again, being in a role where I'm responsible for acquiring new relationships, formulating new relationships. One of the things we're speaking with our customers about is resilience and mental fitness and how that impacts sales performance and productivity, etc. So I'm excited that to really share the lessons I've learned as a salesperson with my sales clients and how I can help them through this rough patch and what that means to their business. So I'm looking forward to that. This is going to be a season where we're really going to put all this mental fitness to test because, as things, if it's anything like 2008, get ready, right? Like that was just incredible. So I'm actually looking forward to helping people this upcoming year, with BetterUp as well as with my own personal stories and engagements. It's funny. I saw on LinkedIn, and I'm thinking about doing this actually, where people are freeing their calendar to help other people. So some folks are being let go, and folks are saying, "Hey, listen, if you need to talk, if I can help you, here's my calendar. Come in, find 15, 20 minutes. Let's chat. Let me add value wherever I can." I think that's powerful. Like that's a whole movement of people swinging the pendulum in the positive direction. And so, I'm looking forward to helping other people.
I love the way you reframed it, because most people are scared with the recession and the price of fuel going up and all the madness, but you've actually reframed it that this is a chance to actually show, prove what we've been learning and the resilience and all that work. How does it work and how did you navigate?
Yeah.
And I love that point about freeing up your calendar to help other people, because it is such a powerful thing where you see others struggling and you kind of think, okay, how can I lean in this time?
Yeah, I mean, my dad used to always say it doesn't cost anything to be nice to somebody. Like, think about that. And if that's part of your value system, which we've all talked about, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you feel yourself? Well, you feel yourself by just being nice to someone. That can be a 15-minute chat, or it can be a 2-hour run. Well, good. If I can get the same thing out of 15 minutes, now I'm optimizing my day, right? So it's stuff like that. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Thank you for sharing that, Chuck. That's
cool.
Alawna, I'm going to ask you the same question as you're looking forward for the rest of the year. Something that, how you're going to focus on for your mental fitness.
Mm-hmm. For me, just being present has been coming up. I'm working on a few things right now, some entrepreneurial things with coaching, with mindfulness, have some personal things like getting married, thinking about where does family planning fit in, and then like obviously having my 9 to 5. So I think just for me, just showing up and being present is what I'm excited for. Being really invested in, like, when I'm with you and spending time with you, like that's what matters. My brain isn't trying to calculate what I need to do the next week or in the next year. It's been busy and girl's tired. I'm tired. So I just really want to be present in everything that I'm doing. And in a way that's very like authentic to me.
I love that. And two things that kind of jumped out as you were talking about, congratulations on the getting married. That's a huge step in the right direction. And also the family planning. I was wondering whether those two things, have you thought about how that's going to change your value system? And the reason I asked that question is, for me, like, becoming a dad was just such a game changer, and prioritizing your time. It was like, it kind of made me realize a lot of stuff I used to think was important was just not important when you had to think about spending time with your son and the things he was asking. So I wanted to pose that question to you.
I know there's big changes coming, so I'm enjoying single Alawna right now and doing what I can do right now in the privilege of my time, but I'm totally invested and ready for what's to come. And I'm excited about that new change because we always have a choice. We can control that. And I've decided that that's for me, and we're going to roll with it when it gets here. Okay.
Well, I'm wishing you all the best. It's going to be life-changing and amazing all at the same time. Okay. Guys, thank you so much. We're coming to the end. This has been just a pleasure of spending this time talking to you about mental fitness. So I always like to end this up with, if there's one thing you'd like to just share with the world for their mental fitness, yeah, what would that be? And Chuck, I'll start with you because I've always been starting with Alana.
Oh, well, you give me the tough one. Goodness
Yeah.
gracious. I would say there was one thing, again, for me, the eye opener was understanding your values and where things fall. And if you can just put that on your wall or put it as a backdrop, you know, the 4 things or whatever it is. And as you're going through your day, you're always going back to that value wheel. You know, like, okay, I need this, I need that, and see where things fall. And I think that'd be the one suggestion I would give for people to improve their mental fitness. It does not take a lot to get going. It's the simple things. Don't be overwhelmed with it. Take baby steps.
I love that point. Value will. Thank you for that, Chuck.
I'm assuming it's me.
That's where I can go, Alana, if you still want some time to think.
No, I can share. Again, in this moment, what's really, really on my heart is controlling what you can and leaving the rest to just being external. You're not stuck anywhere. You don't have to do anything. There are, I don't want to say consequences, but there are outcomes to your decisions. But really being able to name what you're in control of and make decisions from there puts you in a seat of power. And that's really comforting to me.
That's my go-to one for what's in your control, and the rest is just noise. And I find like you can get caught into this rabbit hole when you forget that, and then all of a sudden you start worrying about things that you have no business worrying about, and then you waste the energy that you had that you could use the good things. So thank you so much for sharing that, Alana. I think that's an important one. I don't normally share, but for some reason I got moved today to share one for me, which is going to definitely be, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a coach, but I've actually seen, like, my wife has started coaching and she's been using the person, and the change that it's made for her mental fitness of just having somebody else separate to me that she can have that safe space to go and talk to and bounce ideas, and has had that continuity all the way through. It's made me realize that, if I could say one thing to anyone, even if you don't have a coach, if you have somebody that you really trust, that you just have that person to go and have as a sounding board to share ideas and actually offload what's going on in your mind. I found that's hugely powerful, especially with all the things that we have going on now for your mental fitness. So I thought I'd share that one.
Yeah, and take breaks. Drink water, get some food, get back to it. Like
take a nap.
Take a
nap. Look, it'll be okay.
The world is not going to end.
A power nap is powerful. So yes,
man.
a power nap is powerful.
To leave actually on the note, my dad is 90 something, and I reckon the reason he lived so long was he's been napping since he was 40. So if you want to increase your life expectancy, please just keep napping.
Oh, I got to take that one up for sure.
Right, you'll see it on the calendar.
I love the power nap. There you go, nap time.
Thank you so much, guys. So I'm going to stop.
All right, everyone.
All right.
Take care.